Hello and good afternoon. Today is June 29th, 2025. And we are standing in the Little Lehigh Creek, which is a small tributary that eventually makes its way out to the Lehigh River out in Allentown. We're in the Alburtis, Macungie kind of area today, I guess closer to Alburtis. But what we're looking at is a combination bridge of two different railroads. So the concrete above us is, that's Reading Railroad. The stonework beneath us is actually Catasauqua and Fogelsville. And the first time I was out here, I was out at this structure a couple years back, and I knew that the Reading part was the concrete, but I wasn't sure about the stonework. At that point, I was still kind of green, which I still am incredibly green behind the ears with all this stuff, but I didn't know a lot of the history of this particular railroad right here. So this is originally the Catasauqua and Fogelsville Railroad. The Catasauqua and Fogelsville Railroad, I believe, was chartered in 1853 or 1854, and it began its construction in 1856. So I'm fairly sure that the stonework we're looking at here is from that 1856 build. What I'm also speculating, which I think is pretty cool, is it probably would have been just a wooden span, a wooden trestle over the Little Lehigh when it was first built. So this eventually would become part of the Reading family. The Philadelphia and Reading would lease it in 1893, and then eventually it would completely become Reading owned, but I don't think that was until the 1950s or so when they actually put it officially on their books. But the Catasauqua and Fogelsville played a huge part in the production of iron at the Crane Iron Works out in Catasauqua. The Catasauqua and Fogelsville Railroad transported ore between they had ore mines up in the Seisholtzville area, which is near Bear Creek Ski Mountain, if anyone's familiar with that. Bear Creek Ski Mountain has a Macungie address, but it's not near Macungie proper. But there used to be iron ore mines up there, and the Catasauqua and Fogelsville would run up there to get iron ore, and they also had a furnace in Alburtis known as the Lockridge furnaces, and that was a huge iron production facility as well. So the two are pretty much tied together, the Lockridge furnace and the Crane Iron Works out in Catasauqua. Now, if I remember correctly, the Catasauqua and Fogelsville terminus was in West Catasauqua, and then the Crane Iron Works had their own private railroad that would interchange with the Catasauqua and Fogelsville to do their iron transporting. They were producers of pig iron, which is a raw form of iron that would then later be refined into finished goods, if I'm not mistaken. We have a date stamp right here, 1920, as I knocked the concrete. That's not really cool of me. Yeah, so it's just kind of a neat little combination here with the little Reading and then the history of the Catasauqua and Fogelsville stonework beneath. I actually haven't come across too much of the stonework that remains along any of the Catasauqua and Fogelsville line. Yeah, Catasauqua and Fogelsville Railroad's got a pretty neat little history. They had a bunch of spurs. They had one known as the Breinigsville branch, and that ran out into an iron ore quarry or mine, however you want to phrase it. And that was actually built on original Allentown and Auburn railroad grade, if I'm not mistaken. And then they also had one called the Haffsville branch, which ran out to a really large mine in between Fogelsville proper and the little community of Haffsville. But yeah, Catasauqua and Fogelsville, really neat little railroad. If you ever want to do some research on your own, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Played a huge part in the Industrial Revolution. It helped with all the iron that was being produced in Catasauqua, which was being produced with anthracite at this time. That's where it's the first anthracite forged iron in America was in Catasauqua, and this particular railroad played a part in that. All right, folks, thanks for watching.